Hey guys, Mrs. Matthias here. Today we're going to do marker and styrofoam printmaking. You need water-based markers, a wet and dry paper towel or sponge, blank paper, styrofoam, and some sort of tool to make your design with. The first thing, of course, is to come up with an idea. My styrofoam could go horizontally to be long or vertically to be tall. And I'm going to come up with two ideas for each direction. I want you to come up with a few ideas too. Your ideas could be simple, like designs. Your idea could be a picture of something you know. Or your idea could include words and symbols. Artists sketch out their ideas so that they know what they're going to make and they can decide how to improve an idea before they put it on their real art paper. You can recycle any kind of styrofoam you find. Sometimes meat comes on a piece of styrofoam. Just be sure that you clean it really well, like I did with this one here. Any styrofoam that you find, try to cut off all the edges so that it's nice and flat. Some styrofoam might have designs in it, while other styrofoam will just be really flat. You could use a paper plate, a styrofoam bowl, or any other kind of styrofoam container, like this one from a restaurant. Now it's time to transfer your chosen idea onto the piece of styrofoam you have. You need to use some sort of dull tool to scratch your idea into the styrofoam. This could be a dull pencil or coloring pencil, a pen, or a mechanical pencil. What you're going to do is you're going to choose your idea and press on the styrofoam with the tool so that the styrofoam pushes down. This is leaving some of the styrofoam raised up and pushing some of it down. I chose to cut my styrofoam a little bit more. Now I tried out the colored pencil and I tried out the pen. Depending on the tool you have around, you'll have to try it and see if another tool will work better. What I'm doing here is just drawing my design by pressing it into the styrofoam. The pressed in parts are not going to get color. Sometimes when you're making your design, it's hard to just draw it, so you might want to draw onto the styrofoam with a washable marker just so you know where your design goes and you know where to press in. Just be sure that after you've practiced your design with a washable marker, then you press it in with a dull pencil or pen. I like using the pen because the pen leaves marks so I can see where I pressed in. Once you've completed pressing in all of the designs, it's time to make a practice print. Using a washable marker on its diagonal side, not the pointy tip. Color with the diagonal side all over your styrofoam. What's going to happen is the marker color is only going to show up on the styrofoam that is raised. The parts that you drew your lines in are pushed down, and so the marker will not show up on here. The lines you drew are a lot like the lines in a coloring book. Now it's time to print it, so I'm going to flip it over and rub it onto my piece of paper. That worked out okay, but what would happen if I color it and then make my paper wet? So I went and got a paper towel slightly wet, and now I'm tapping it onto my paper until the paper feels slightly wet. Rubbing on my printed styrofoam design, and look at the difference between the wet and dry paper. Then use a wet paper towel to clean off your styrofoam, and you can reuse it to make more prints. It's a good idea to dry it off too. Now that I practiced it with only purple, I wanted to print it with lots of colors this time. So I'm taking some time to color in the different areas. Remember, I am not coloring into the parts I pressed on. I'm only coloring on top of the parts that are raised. Then get the paper a little bit wet with your damp paper towel or rag. Flip over your styrofoam. Don't wiggle the styrofoam, but press all over it. Maybe use a marker to rub on it. You can check to see if it's transferred by lifting it up, and if not, rubbing on the spot where it didn't transfer. Clean off your styrofoam plate and dry it so you can use it again. One of my other ideas was to use letters. Let's try it out. I'm using a washable marker to draw in the word draw. Then I'm using my dull pencil and my pen to scratch in the design to the styrofoam. Once I'm done scratching in my design, I will practice this print by coloring it with one color and seeing how it turns out. Oh, the letters turned out backwards. So I need to draw them backwards to begin with. I grabbed a new styrofoam. I drew the letters for draw onto the styrofoam, but I drew them backwards. Now I'm using a pen to press them into the styrofoam. And I'm going to practice this print too. Color it, get the paper wet, and press it onto my paper. How will this one turn out? As you can see, the letters turned out the correct direction, so drawing them backwards to begin with makes them turn out the correct direction. Now the cool thing with printmaking is you can take your design and add it to something else or give it as a gift. I chose to make mine into a card so I can give it to somebody who I miss. What will you make today during printmaking? Will you give it to somebody? Will it be something for you? How many copies of the same print will you make? Thanks for learning with me. Bye.